Hi, everybody. My name is Shannon Ryan. I am the Vice President of Growth at Veritas Automata. And sometimes when people hear that title, it's, oh gosh, growth. She's instantly sales or she's instantly marketing. But there's a lot more to it than just sales and marketing. It's breaking through people's mindsets. So today we're talking about just that. Also, there's a very controversial keyword within this title, women. Okay. Also, I know this title is a little bit controversial, but as we progress within the next decade of tech, all this crazy things called AI, how do we start making our teams more diverse? How do we start making our mindsets more diverse, right? How does that lead into the growth of the tech world? So again, my name is Shannon. I will be here all day. If you have any questions and you don't like to ask questions in a big setting, please come and find me. My counterpart is also here, and we're happy to get started. So I have 35 minutes. Typically, I take about 20 minutes just to present. I am a discussionist. I like to talk about strategy. I like to talk about how to get there. So I will give us about 15 minutes of questions. So start thinking about what you want to ask. Okay, here's my story. I've had every title in the book in my career. I started when this thing called Google rolled out. And yes, I am an early 80s baby, so we're going to talk about Oregon Trail, launch of Google, MySpace, all of the things. Hopefully it resonates with some people in this audience. So early start. I was very fortunate. My father actually worked in China in the mid 80s and early 90s. So I always had these cool techie things. Actually, I had a car phone, if anyone remembers that, in the early 90s. And that was instantly my thing I would carry around this school. I'm born and raised in Houston. I spent some time in Philadelphia, San Diego, Yuma, Arizona. I live in Virginia now, but I'm always here in North Carolina. We help some customers in the Research Triangle, so I'm here quite often. So hope to see you guys after this presentation and our paths cross. Anyways, I digress. So car phone, right? I'm walking around a southern school with a car phone, and I was this weird tech girl. Like, who is she? Also, I took linguistics classes, so I got rid of my southern accent, but trust me, I'm diehard southern. Anyways, so I was in my father's car, and he had this car phone, and the car was off, right? So I'm playing with all these buttons, and I'm like, okay, we're safe. Not gonna call anybody. No, the car turns on, and instant calls his CEO, and I instantly was captivated by tech. How did that work? The aliens are here. The car was off. I was playing with this phone. Anyways, that's the beginning of my career in tech. And then I started coding MySpace, if anyone remembers that. Any of my girlfriends, y'all want glitter on your MySpace? I got you. You want a song to play as soon as the page opens? I totally got you. So that's where I started coding. Again, southern, blonde hair, blue eyes. Who is she? Why is she walking around with a car phone? But I started realizing that I was the only woman in the room. So let's take a moment. Look around. How many women are in this room? 4, 5? Majority of them are the speakers here today. So how do we change the narrative moving forward and having that diverse group, having that diverse audience into the next generation of tech? So hopefully, as I see majority of people who identify as men here, how do we get through that together? Okay, on to it. So after MySpace, I went and worked for a plastic surgeon, of all things. Hey, Shannon, I need to be on that thing called Google. No clue what it is. Can you help me out? After 6 months, I made that man $6 million instantly because I figured it out from a digital realm. So again, I had all these different titles. My title at that position, by the way, was office manager. Asked me if I ever went into the actual office. I was a tech girl. I was in San Diego by that time. Hey, Shannon, where are you? Not in the office, but building your wealth, that's for sure. Moved on, right? Took an IPO contract research organization through an IPO on the Hong Kong Stock Exchange. Hey, Shannon, your director of communications. but you're doing our entire digital transformation. So hopefully this resonates with some people in the room. I want to be this, but I am here, right? I'm an IT specialist, but I want to be a vice president of product, right? How do you get there? So I have some tips and tricks in this presentation today. And there's some actually pretty fascinating culture and skills leadership presentations in the next couple of hours. I know there's one about breaking down silos. So I actually went through all the presenters' titles, and I removed a lot of stuff that was going to be redundant because I wanted y'all to have an authentic presentation for each of the presenters. So if you are looking to build who you are in your career or who you are as a person, I highly encourage you to go to all of those types of presentations, even if the title might not resonate with you, because you might learn something. So throughout my career, what did I learn? To start asking real questions. That's what it was, right? I was given tasks, but then I started building on my questions, that strategy, right? That growth mindset. And I kept looking around the room like I just am now, and I realized that I was the minority. And here we are with some statistics of current age of women in tech. Again, if you're not a woman in tech, how do you start advocating for the people on your team for more diversity? So 28% of current workforce is women. Now the next one, that's pretty shocking. By 35, 56% of those women are no longer in tech. That's wild. Think about that, right? I have to say, I'm very proud of myself. I might be a unicorn in tech because obviously I'm over 35 and I'm still here. And the women here in this room are still here as well. This one, the 39%, this is the one that we really want to focus on today. So if you have a diverse team, it says in the McKinsey study that you will outperform by 39%. Think about that. Thankfully, at Veritas Automata, we have a very diverse team. We have 150 engineers down in Columbia. About 50% of our company are women. We have over half of our executives are women as well. So I can hold true to these numbers that if you do have a diverse team, your company will be very successful. So analyze that. Take an internal note in your mind and say, where am I at and where's my team at? So what's actually getting in the way? This is the real question. So again, I'm going to go back to my Southern roots. And my first class was home ec, how to sew, how to embroider, how to make a bed. Again, this is early 90s. So it's a little bit different here, but are those socioeconomical teachings that we were raised with impact our current day-to-day and how we work with our teams? So this is from a woman's standpoint. I will say that I've actually encountered all of this within my career, and this is why I can speak about it here today. So that invisible labor. Are you delegating tasks? Hey, Shan, can you please go get us coffee? Sure. Why? Hey, Shannon, can you please send us those call notes that you were diligently taking? Yeah, sure. But why? Right? That's not the value that I bring to the table. Is this something that's happening within your team? Something to think about, right? Is there that delegation to a woman or someone else that is not confident to say no? Is that happening? This one, bias that isn't named. All right, so this one's definitely me. I think you guys can tell I'm a little bit of a firecracker. Is assertiveness looked at as aggressive? Is punctuality aggressive? Is asking a lot of questions? Do people become defensive? Is that something that, is it just because she's a woman or is it confidence? So if there is someone in your team that has confidence, or if she is speaking her mind, or if she's coming up with ideas, is there a bias there because of her specific gender? As now in 2026, for me, I can confidently say no. I think we have shifted in our leadership styles, but it is something to think about if there is some type of animosity or something within your teams that it's because maybe people are looking at other genders differently. Mentorship versus sponsorship. So like I mentioned, I do a lot of mentoring. Actually, maybe I didn't mention that yet. So I do a lot of mentoring of younger generations. What's the difference between mentorship and sponsorship? And I'll tell you. Mentorship, right? Hey, try this. What are you thinking about this? Asking a lot of questions as always. But sponsorship, are you advocating for that person when that person is not in the room? So say we have Mary Jo. She's in training. She is punctual. She delivers. Her deadlines are perfect. Her code is amazing. But you're mentoring her to become a better leader. Are you mentioning Mary Jo in conversations when she's not in the room? Think about that, because we always hear about mentoring, but are you sponsoring that person as well? I do have to say, I have a really supportive co-working team. And again, growth mindset, right? I want to always grow everything. Puzzles are my favorite. I like to put them together. I own every type of plant Lego. I think of projects as Lego sets. How do we work through that and put it together? So in a growth mindset, we're working on a large language model for the American Printing House for the Blind. We're helping produce books faster. It's absolutely incredible. And I tell the team, hey, we need all these academic journals, like for our social content, for our just content in general, to grow the company and have those case studies. And I had one of my coworkers, I was not in the room, and he said, hey, we need this academic paper for Shannon. Again, that advocacy, right? I watched the Fathom recording of the meeting, and I was touched. I was like, okay, we get it. My company advocates for the women that are not in the room. And I went to that person and I thanked him, and he didn't think anything of it. But that's how I'm starting to see the culture is starting to change with women not in the room. Visibility trap in hospital culture, the confidence gap myth. So like I mentioned, 56% of women leave by the time they're 35, right? Why is that? Is it because no one's advocating for them? Is their compensation low? Are they feeling small in conversation, right? Women are taught, be small, sit back, don't let the man take over. Are they able to talk within your team? Something to think about as well. I'm seeing the gears are turning, and people are nodding and people are taking notes. So this is great. So confidence gap. This is another thing that we, not necessarily in my generation, were taught to be confident. And there within this, the whole takeaway of this, anyone who is younger in their career within the audience, you have to be confident to become a leader. And I know they're going to be talking about those skill sets in a couple of other presentations. Again, I highly recommend you attend them to get those skills up and be more courageous. So here we are. What actually works? Again, the sponsors. Find the sponsors, not just the mentors. If you are a mentor at the moment, become a sponsor. Lead your leadership identity early. I knew I wanted to be an executive. I didn't really know where or how or what I was going to do. All I knew that I loved tech. I loved digital transformation. I loved taking manual doctor's notes and putting them into this thing called the cloud. I didn't know, but I knew that I wanted to be something, and I knew I wanted to help and lead other people. So I had that identity early in my career, and thankfully, I was confident to become that leader that I wanted to be. Build cross-functional networks. This is huge. Not only attending events, right? We have DevOps Day. Mike, they organize this. This is amazing, right? This is your network. This is your community. These are like-minded people. But who are the people with you in the company that know who you are? So as technologists, right, we stay down, we stay in the code, we want to, yeah, right? That's our comfort zone. We have a very particular personality. But how do we open up our minds and go meet other people in the company? Because when you have other people advocating for yourself in the company, that is your growth. That is your leadership. That is how you break through the barrier of being a tech and then becoming something more. That's a huge one for you. And then own your visibility. And I'll get into next slide. I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself. I'm so excited. But Own your visibility, right? How do you become that person? So how I have done it is I have built my personal brand. Who here knows what a personal brand is? Okay, great. All right, let's teach that into the younger generations. If you don't know what a personal brand is, it's how people perceive you when you're not in the room. A lot of people talk about personal brand on social media, and you know I'm going there. But how do you build your personal brand in a conversation when you leave that room, that person knows exactly who you are, who you stand for, who your team is, what your team is doing. It's all about advocating for yourself. If you don't know what that means, it means having the confidence to talk about yourself, to talk about your gains, your wins. It's not vain. It's not vanity. It's, hey, I did this. He just mentioned, how do you talk about the tech, but actually communicate the tech? That's a huge advocacy for yourself. So keep that in mind. Where else? Define your narrative, right? Who you are, like I mentioned, what do you stand for? Make your wins visible and publish your thinking. So now we're getting into social media. I know this is a little bit of controversy. A lot of people don't like LinkedIn, but I'm going to use it as an example. But keep an open mind. It doesn't necessarily have to be LinkedIn. It can be any social platform. But here is publishing your thinking. That takes a lot for a technologist to be assertive and be able to talk about themselves, right? That very particular personality. Here we are, visible. So publish your thinking. Now, it's not necessarily has to be content, right? It can be your wins, your certifications, your company wins, what your team did. Hey, we had this amazing day at DevOpsDays Raleigh. Here we are, right? It's that advocacy for yourself, but also you build that network and that community, and also your like-minded people. So here is a good example of building visibility. This is building visibility and influence, right? This all is that breaking through and becoming the leader that you want to be. Now, everybody knows that symbol on that one side, Kubernetes. Okay, so let's say you get a certification in Kubernetes. Again, any certification, Microsoft AI, how about the AI DevOps certification, any type of certification, right? You put it onto your socials. You're promoting your personal brand. Okay, this in the growth world, it's called social amplification. Okay, so then you put it on there and you get 200 new followers. There, you're growing your network. Now, it's not just vanity metrics though, right? You're not like there, oh, I just want 200 more followers. It's actually, what do you do with that network, right? How do you build that community? How do you talk to those people? That's where you get your visibility and your influence. So then from there, you get your colleagues, your support system, and that leads to bigger projects. So again, right, the whole point of this is, how do we break through the status quo? If I'm here in my career and I want to be here regardless of gender, right? I haven't mentioned women in how many slides, right? This is for everybody now. How do you get there? This is one tips and trick that you could do. I also do this with my teams. I lead the certification program at Veritas Automata, and we have over 50 certifications in the past 2.5 years of different tips and tricks and different skill sets. But it also came with that influence of, this is not just a certification for you, it's also a certification for the company and the growth of your career. So here we are, we have an example. This is Veronica. She is from Medellin, Colombia. I met Veronica when I first started at Veritas Automata. Very shy. English is her second language. But a powerhouse in coding. Just incredible, right? She is a leader and very influential within the female community of our company and now the entire community of our company. She gets a certification on, which one was this? Microsoft. Posted it on LinkedIn. All right, again, LinkedIn, right? Some people love it, some people hate it. It's a very interesting moment for LinkedIn because it seems like everything is written with AI. Anyways, so she gets her certification, then she updates her skills and licenses. Okay, cool, right? We're getting there. Then she updates her feature section. If you are not familiar with LinkedIn, and you're just thinking, okay, so this girl updated her social profile, then you don't understand actually what LinkedIn is. So for the leaders here, LinkedIn, there's 5 components. We'll go through all of them. Not really. But it is a tool to grow your company, okay? So if you are getting new customers, if anyone's in sales and marketing, I'm sure I'm preaching to the choir. If you're a technologist and you're leading a company and somewhere you're in middle management and about to be higher executive, right? You are going to get into the realm of a P&L, profits and loss, or even revenue generation. How many leads are you bringing in? Are you attending these DevOps days? Okay, how many contacts did you make? Hand it over to your marketing team. I just gave you 5 leads. That was very high level. It's a little bit more intricate. However, this girl is now certified. She's updated her profile. She's updated her algorithm on LinkedIn. Now, I'm connecting the dots for y'all. So what do new customers do when they're researching your company? They research your team members. And if you're not aware of that, go to your recruiters, go to your marketing people, and they can tell you specifically who is looking at your LinkedIn social profiles and your personal profiles. Not the who's, not the Shannon Ryans, but someone at Veritas Automata. Okay, so think about this, right? This is for the leaders here. Also for the early tech people, but update your profiles. But for leaders, if you're not encouraging growth within your team, there's a missed opportunity there because this will help you with your sales. So again, growth-minded, it was 50 certifications and building visibility. But in the underlying, it's also helping the company growth. There, if you have that mindset, that's how you break through where you are right now. At the end of the day, it's all about visibility and breaking through that specific part of your life and how to get bigger and better. Okay, we are at 22 minutes. Okay, alrighty, so now back to women. We have a founder in the room. She's a presenter leader today, and she is an excellent example of this slide, okay? There is a huge mass opportunity for women to become leaders, to become founders, to become CEOs. Who wants to own their own company sometime in their life? Yes, right? How do we start with that diversity in the mindset of building that team for people to become founders, architects? If you are starting off in your career, how do you become that certified architect? By the way, if you're becoming an architect, you're going to have to help with sales, which means building your confidence and being able to speak to people. Also, of course, the leaders, the CTOs, the VPs, right? Women are coming. And so how do you embrace that change now? And so then in the next 10 years, we are seeing it even more prominently. They're building the table. They've built the foundation. They've built the society. Now we embrace that, right? Embrace that diversity so then you can expand a little bit more. And here's some tips and tricks. If you're a little bit younger in your career, or even if you'd like to mentor or sponsor someone. So the first is write your professional narrative in 3 sentences and share it. That's really hard to do. Who am I in 3 sentences? Oof, I don't know if I can even do it. 2, identify one sponsor, not a mentor, and have that conversation. Find that person. They will be your advocate. They will be the person who talks about you behind, not negatively behind your back, but they will advocate for you when you're not in the room. Audit your last month. Who got the credit? Was it you? Again, not vain, but if you're sitting in a meeting with your camera off and you're on mute at all times, is someone else taking your credit of your hard work? Something to think about. I didn't really touch about that because I'm sure that's going to be in another presentation, but that's a really easy trick to start getting noticed. Put your camera on, because think about this. If someone asks you a question, how many seconds does it take to turn your camera on, maybe fix your hair really quick, and then unmute? 4 to 5 seconds. So if you show up to meetings, again, this is for people that want to be super successful in your career and maybe you're just starting out. Unmute and put your camera on and smile. Show up to work. Oh, The Wi-Fi loves me today. And post one thing about your thinking on LinkedIn this week. Anything. Doesn't have to be complicated. Hi, I went to DevOpsDays Raleigh and I met Mike. Hey, I saw this new Claude tool for life sciences. What do you guys think about it? Start it. If you break down the barrier of that insecurity and you start talking about yourself, it'll lead to other opportunities, that social amplification idea. Make one introduction that benefits someone else with no agenda. So we're here at DevOps Day, right? This is all about community. So maybe you have someone that you want to advocate for, you have that person in mind, and you meet someone else and you think, oh my gosh, they would kick it off. That's the whole thing, right? Isn't that tech? Tech is universal. How do we start coming together to make a better future for our next generations? And then ask for what you want directly, not eventually, now. This is something I really had to overcome. And again, I have an amazing team that has pushed me and encouraged me. Shannon, get on stage. Shannon, if you want to do that, you need to ask for it. Even at my age, right? I still need that encouragement. And I have that team at Veritas Automata. So ask for what you want, because all they can say is no. And okay, you ask again in 6 months.